right, a very good morning to you. Thanks a lot for sticking with K24 this morning. My name is Shiko Kaitani. In just a moment, we'll be stepping into our relationship segment with Paul Mgalambuvi as from 9 a.m. But like they had said earlier on, this is a special show because we're already trying to gear you up for the holiday season, right? FYI, just so you know, we're an excited lot because the breakfast crew will be coming to you live from Fairmont Mara Hotel, or camp should I say, as of tomorrow. So the kitchen is going to be different, the vibe is going to be different. Inshallah, we will be on location from the Masai Mara. But speaking about travel, there's lots of ways that you can start thinking about how to get to your favorite destination come December. And so even as we get that conversation going, this time around we'd like to just talk to you or highlight about air travel safety, okay? And let me tell you something, we've brought these guys all the way, and by all the way, they've come all the way from Canada just to talk to us about air travel safety. So you know, we go big or we go home. The two gentlemen on set are still trying to pronounce my name. I think one of them kind of likes it. He says, it sounds pretty catchy. Chico. Let me welcome to the program the Director of Investor Relations of Star Navigation, Harmeet Gill, to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Shiko, for having us here.
And then we've got Captain Jonathan Cordich as well here with us, the Executive Vice President of Navigation Systems. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, and so gentlemen, maybe I can start off with you, Harmeet, in terms of talking to us about the correlation between Star Navigation Systems. I even have your card here with me, as well as Flight Path International. What's the relationship or the sisterhood about?
Well, the unique quality of this relationship has been in twofold. The first one is that Flight Path are dealing with about 160 airlines worldwide. They have 9 training centers. So that's including South America, obviously in Africa. They're also situated in Switzerland, Spain, India. And they've been training pilots, avionics guys, and operations in Africa for the past 22 years.
Nice.
So when they came to Star Navigation, we are a big data company. We extract the data from the aircraft, and that kind of data can really help them optimize their training as well for pilots. And obviously we want to make the airline safer so you can travel, your families can travel, and they can train those pilots and those engineers properly, and we can help grow the countries in a safer environment of traveling.
Right. Okay. And Captain, obviously, I guess you're very passionate about it as someone who's at the forefront of it. Air travel safety is paramount for you. How did you get involved in the campaign, and what's really driving you to actually speak about this message?
Well, certainly the amount of incidents and accidents and people's lives being lost, and it just becomes so sensationalized when there's an air accident. And we've been in training, as Harmeet said, for the past 20 years, various locations throughout the world. And travel has been increasing aside of the times of COVID.
Yeah.
That, economic developments, movements of people and goods, and there's always been a worldwide interest and concern about what can we do to increase safety. And then when an accident happens, it just becomes so devastating for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And we've been looking at ways, and so has the rest of the world aviation community, what does it take to make the skies safer? And certainly technology has been in tremendous development and movement. The airplanes, that does not mean just fixed wings, means helicopters also, that are getting more and more sophisticated, but yet we still have devastating accidents that occur, and particularly recently that we've had few with the latest technology of aircraft, the 73 MAX in Ethiopia, in Malaysia, and then the 777 with the MH370 that we still cannot find today, and the Air France from Rio to Charles de Gaulle, the Airbus 330. These are all the highest technology type of aircraft that exist today in the world, but yet catastrophes have happened. So we're looking at what has been the issue, and certainly, as the technology is improving, it can only boil down to only two things. Is what is the level of training, proficiency, and qualifications that we as pilots and engineers maintain, and also is there a way that we can have technological assistance aside of our human factors, how we operate aircraft? So this is how star navigation and flight path combine, that we are the human factors and star navigation is the technology.
Right.
And they have developed the latest equipment in terms of sensing capabilities that can monitor every single system on board the aircraft. From a
Right.
technological perspective, that we can see the condition of the airplane, anything that moves on the aircraft.
Right.
Of course, speaking electrically, electric systems, hydraulics, engine,
Yeah.
flight controls, anything
Yeah.
that we have. But we can also monitor how pilots are operating the aircraft. And that happens from the time that
Yeah.
the airplane is, you
Airborne.
start the engines
Right,
until
right.
you shut them down, and throughout the entire profile. So when you put the human factors of training in terms of improvements, and then you put the technology together by having the capability to monitor in real time,
Yeah.
we're really starting to see of where our gaps have been.
Okay.
Because up to now, we haven't had technology such as this, as Harmeet said, big data analysis, which means we're starting to see every single condition of what's going on with the airplane. We can make early decisions, and
Okay.
that has been critical in terms of preventative measures
For
accidents,
Yeah.
of where we
Yeah.
haven't had the ability to see things developing from an early stage.
Okay. Okay. All right. And just jump in on that, Hamid, because I think it sounds really great. Everything that, I'm hearing also from Captain, but then I guess the implementation aspect is also quite the challenge, because how are you getting more airlines, more aircraft owners to jump on board and actually use and take advantage of the technology that's out there? Because they could resist it and say, I don't want my aircrafts, for this.
Well, see, what happens is
Yeah.
you cannot compromise safety. It doesn't matter if you want it or not. Safety is the key. Even though a lot of the airlines or a lot of the aircraft will say, oh, we don't compromise safety,
Yeah.
they still are. Right? They're only going by the regulatory board that's been set, and they don't want to do anything extra.
Yeah.
This system, the way it happens is, so soon as the power on of the aircraft, it's monitoring.
Yeah.
So even while the plane's on the ground, just starting up, it's looking for problems on your aircraft immediately. As soon as you take off and you do your flight phases and you come and you land, let's say like we came all the way from Canada,
Yeah.
and we had a pretty long flight, 22 hours. So we want to feel safe. When my kids fly, they even say, they goes, Dad, is your system going to be on these aircraft? Because we feel safer with it.
Right.
You're being monitored all the time. So when you're monitored, and even the pilots, we will see their performances, how they're flying the plane and whatnot. We were actually with one of the airlines yesterday. I don't
Right.
want to mention the name of it. And they had an issue with the way the pilot was landing the aircraft. And that's why they came to the conference, and that's what we are doing. We're doing conferences in several cities and several countries. We did one just 2 days ago at the Boma Hotel in
Yeah.
Kenya.
Yeah.
We're traveling to Ghana next, and we have the aviation ministers there. So when we get the governments involved and
Yeah.
they see the big reasons why this technology is needed, that really gets it out to the public.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we want to see your family safe. We want to see our family safe. It's not only about putting the systems on, it's how the public views this.
Right.
We want to see tourism come here. We want to see the economy of Kenya grow. And if people see that, hey, they got safe planes to fly around, they got the ISMS star system on it, safest system in the world, man, it'll be fantastic to go there and let's go see that safari. They feel
Right.
comfortable.
Yeah.
So it's all about that as
Yeah,
well.
and you're right. I mean, perception is everything, because from a layman perspective, who I've never been obviously in the field that either of you have been, and so I've put my life in Captain's hands. So how do I know, that we're 100% proof, right? So those are the kind of questions that passengers ask, and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is a great question. But let me back up a little bit. Let me make a comment on your first question where you asked Harmeet there. I really like that question, and I'll address this too.
Yeah.
You said, what would it take for the airline operators to implement such a system? Certainly, it is obvious that airline is a business operation. So whenever any kind of new technological developments come along, the first question by any airline operator, and by the way, I do believe that every single airline operator, from the smallest one to the largest ones, believe that they are operating safe
Right.
until something happens.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when something new comes up that is in the interest of safety, the first question that comes from any single airline operator is that, Well, is it regulated? Which means is it mandatory? Of where, what Harmeet said, we need the support of the governments. You know, we cannot force them to make things mandatory. They have to come to a point of realization and confidence in the equipment that's available, that to see, yes, these are the true benefits, hence make it mandatory. So for an airline operator to jump in and just put it on right away, that doesn't necessarily happen like that. That's rare. Unless the airline operator is really convinced that this is a good thing and the benefits that you're going to get. But the regulations are always first and the key. That if we don't have it regulated, then it becomes a challenge until more and more accidents occur, and then people start opening up their eyes. And accidents will continue unless we move with the technology.
Right.
The second question that you said, how do you know what assurance can our public have? How safe are we? Well, today, the way that we are flying, although certainly every airline operator will say, of course we assure your safety.
Right.
They cannot say anything else, otherwise nobody else is going to fly with them.
That's true.
But the reality is that that's not totally true. That's not a fact, because there's always uncertainty, unexpected situations, circumstances that evolve, and then an accident occurs, and then we say, okay, what can we learn from it so it doesn't happen again until it happens again? But now when you bring in this kind of technology of where it starts to see series of events developing from the onset,
Right.
because no accident happens just like that for no reason.
Right.
Nothing goes from 0 to 100.
There's always indicators.
There is always something that starts evolving, developing, and early detection is the key. And this is where the technology is coming in. This is a new technology throughout the world.
Right.
In terms of having this kind of capability of monitoring everything that's in the airplane, again, in real time, on ground, so we can see it.
Okay.
And that is the only way that we can assure traveling passengers that we are 100% safe now, because science does not lie. He always tells the truth. And that's where we are today.
Okay. And away from even the science, I guess you could both answer this. I know there's all about detection and, monitoring, right? But then there's the human aspect to it that he just mentioned earlier on. What more can the aviation industry do to reduce human error? Because this really means you're appealing to the individual. You're appealing to the person who's driving the plane, operating. Right.
That's actually a really good point. And I love the questions you're asking here. Because if you look at the aircrafts that are built, they have thousands and thousands of sensors, right? They have the data on the plane. It's extracting that data and bringing it onto the ground. So the ground personnel now can help the pilot. He's already busy flying the aircraft. We don't want him to start looking at systems. So this system is independent from the pilots, okay? So now when it's independent, if alert gets generated, let's see, I'll give you an example. We had a plane flying from Toronto to Montreal. That's like going from Kenya to Ethiopia. And that plane had a problem with the left engine pressurization was too high, right? Now, when that was too high, the N1, right away the ground was notified. Is it critical? Yes. So they're on satellite phones talking to the pilot, letting him know that, you know what, when you come back there, we need to address this problem. So like Captain said, it's predictive maintenance. If your plane is here in a flight going, let's say 2 weeks ago, you want to know the problem 2 weeks ago. You don't want to find after the fact, now you have an issue and something's going to happen to the plane. So to assure the safety for the public, they got to have that data that's already available, but who's extracting it? And Star Navigation have figured out through artificial intelligence how to extract that data, let you know when your left and your right engine is failing, let you know about your hydraulics, and be in touch with you all the time. Now the ground is helping the air and the pilot letting know what's going on. If you look at the MH370, it's a 777, 220 passengers. It's not a small plane. This is a big plane. Very sophisticated aircraft, 777. They can fly long distances. It's missing for 8 years.
Wow.
There were loved ones on that plane.
Right.
And still they don't have the answers what happened to it.
Right.
And so it's sad, if you look at that.
And
it's even more sad for us because we have the technology that could help there. Right? So, and that's why I mean, if you look at it, Captain himself is a pilot.
Yeah.
He flew for Swiss Aviation. He's also in the military.
Yeah.
So if he feels that the technology can get a lot more better than it is,
Right.
that's why we partner up with Star, because he feels this is a technology that can take it to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But I'm really glad that you asked the question in terms of human perspective, what more can we do to reduce error? That was your question, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, human error from all the accidents that have occurred from a statistical perspective accounts for over 90% of all the accidents and incidents.
That's huge.
Human error.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you look at, you say, well, why are you bringing technology when it's really human error? The problem, human errors don't just happen. Mistakes don't just occur. They evolve. They all have a root. Why does an error occur? Because we haven't seen of what it's developing before a mistake happens. Just like how you get in a car accident on the road. You just didn't see what happened prior and it surprised you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So how do we get better? Can we get better? Certainly a system like this will give us the ability to become more aware in terms of, you know, having a high level of awareness of what's going on, so we can actually see things developing.
Right.
But all that will have no value unless training is improved.
Yeah, and it sounds like for your career, I mean, learning doesn't stop. You always have to be up to date. You have to keep going back, training, refreshing what you know.
No, I don't read any more books.
Oh, definitely he hasn't read a book for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in anyways, really, you know, what we have seen, again, like Harmeet mentioned, we over 160 countries worldwide, working, customers over 60 countries and national aviation authorities. So training has always been very critical, and what we have seen from, I've been in aviation now, you know, 42 years.
Wow.
I started since I was 2 years old.
He does look younger.
Because you
though,
don't
must
tell us
admit.
your real age.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in any case, quality of training worldwide has reduced. And it is a fault of the industry collectively. And the reason for that, the industry has found itself in a trap by believing because the airplanes are getting technically more reliable, automation has started to take over
Everything,
our ability to see.
Yeah.
The training aspect will have to get changed and or amended to start thinking, maybe reverting back to what we say old school of flying in cooperation with the technology. We have forgotten how to really fly airplanes as we started to fly from day one because of heavy reliance of technology in the cockpit. And when technology starts to take over from the human brain, this is where the problems occur.
Right.
I'm not suggesting that technology will ever take over the human mind, and I'm not. I'm an opponent of that, actually. But still, training worldwide has become just a minimum requirement to maintain license and not really spending the time and the profiles and the programs of where focus will be. Really, what does it take to improve the human factor, as you mentioned, about reducing errors? And that can only happen if we kind of try to remember what was it really like and what did it really take to be a pilot vice being a computer operator today. Now we need both by all means. I'm not trying to suggest that the technology in the cockpit is not good. It's brilliant, it's fantastic. I mean, look at what the Tesla cars look like. It's like, wow. But if you're only strictly relying on that and forgetting how to really drive a car, that's where the problems are.
True, true. Captain, well said. And even as we say goodbye, your parting shot obviously to airline operators, anybody within the aviation space who could be watching, what do you want to tell them, Harmeet? You can actually look straight into your camera.
I would tell them that, look, we got to go with the times. Times have changed, technology's changed, and you need that to make the average public person fly out there and feel safe. And again, I'm coming back to, we want to see the economy of Kenya grow. We want to create jobs here. We want to see also the growth of people finding it to come to Kenya. It's very safe because the airline industry is really, really kept well. They got good trained pilots, they got good technology. And that will really make a difference. We were talking with the KCAA, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authorities. They're very fond of it. They said, we want to support you. You got our blessings.
Right.
And it's blessings like that we need in Ghana, in Ethiopia, and everywhere else. So let's make all African aviation safe and around the world.
Yeah.
So
sure.
yes, this is for everyone, not just 1 or 2 countries.
All right. So congratulations, though, for the far that you've come, and keep the good work going.
Thank you. Thank you, Shiko.
Okay, so we wish you luck even as you head to a different market, just to talk to them and, you know, spread the good news, if I can call it that. These are the men from Toronto. I'm calling you that by force.
No problem. No problem. I look like I'm from Canada.
All right. So. A big thank you, obviously, to Harmeet Gill, who is the Director Investor Relation at Star Navigation Systems. Also, a big thank you to Captain Jonathan Kordich, the Executive Vice President as well, for making time this morning just to explain about the advancements as far as air travel safety is concerned. Let's take that short commercial break. When we get back, Movie Day takes lead on Relationship Thursdays.